But here's the problem with AI. It doesn't have the experience in business. It aggregates information and experiences from other possible human beings in the world. And what will help you is this, and this. A lot of coaches, a lot of business owners are struggling. And to be honest, I've had to kind of battle this and work through this. It's like, what is my business gonna look like? And I'll be talking about this in different podcasts as we come along. But I'll say this: but I think about 80 to 90% of the coaches are gonna be out of business because of the way they coach. And our topic today is on resilience. Resilience in the age of overwhelm. And I love that phrasing around it. And I'll break it down what we mean by resilience, what's going on with overwhelm. And more importantly, what should you pay attention to as a coach when it comes to you and when it comes to clients or potential clients? This is a very, very important topic, especially in the world of AI, especially in the world of market instability. We are in a very unique market situation since the past few years, which means that there are lots of pivots required naturally because we are just in that pattern of market conditions. Add to that AI, add to that political challenges out in the world that people see and their perception of what's going to happen. And naturally, that creates a lot of hesitation, that creates a lot of fear as to where people put their money, attention, what they should do with themselves. And that's positive and negative for coaches. But I want to start with ourselves because we know we have a phrase as coaches: we are client zero. And I want to define a couple of terms here when it comes to being client zero. So the first one is resilience. What is resilience? And I pulled up the definition: is the ability to adapt, to bounce back, and even grow stronger in the face of adversity, stress, trauma, or significant life changes. Now, coaches are fairly aware of this because most coaches came to become coaches because they dealt with a difficult life circumstance. For example, I dealt with a lot of addiction, alcohol, drugs, all kinds of things early on, and I realized that a lot of the root challenges around that was traumas that I had gone through, but also not knowing how to direct my mind. So there were both factors in there. It took me a decade plus to even figure out how to move around that. And then I still had to deal with that when I started my business a decade ago. I had to build resilience. That means that the business was a whole other challenge. On top of that, being the primary provider, and having children, wife, and trying to build a life. And when I went cold turkey towards the business world and I didn't know what I was doing, that required resilience. To be honest, I realized even despite my past resilience that I thought I had, I struggled to build that resilience early on. And almost always I would end up with overwhelm. What is overwhelm? Where the way I look at overwhelm is that our emotions take over, and overwhelm is an emotion, survival emotions that connects to our hindbrain, and we can't think anymore. And the primary way you're going to be able to run a business is if you can think. The primary way you can connect with clients or potential clients is if you can think and use your prefrontal cortex. You also use your emotions of empathy, connection, those kind of things. That's still not a survival thing. That's a connection thing. That's a growth thing. And I mean, I've done this. I categorize emotions in survival and growth categories. So emotions such as peace, happiness, connection, those kind of things fall into growth emotions, and emotions such as fear, disconnection, overwhelm, they are in the survival category. So when we're in survival, it's very, very hard to connect with people. A great example of that is if I'm walking with my child crossing the road and there's a car that comes in towards us, and I see that car is a little bit fast and my daughter's not fully aware of it, I'm either going to scream at her to get her out of the way or grab her, get her out of the way. There is no sense of connection or anything. I just need to protect her. Same thing with if our survival is in threat, we will take steps that are reactionary, and those are important in those moments. But they're not connection oriented, growth, or strategy oriented. There's no strategy, it's just a reaction. Those are important feelings to have, but excuse me, but they don't serve us to grow. and when we're trying to grow. So let's talk about resilience and overwhelm. Not now that we have defined them, how does it show up for coaches, and why did I call it the age of overwhelm? Well, we've been in the information age for a while now. Now we are in the age of AI, making sense of that information, and we're in the age of AI. We don't just have large amounts of data; we have some type of intelligence that's helping us make sense of it. Here's a problem though. Even though AI can help us a lot, I see people still overwhelmed, going down the rabbit holes of all kinds of things because their initial intention is still survival. Because here's what they're doing. They're like their underlying thinking is that AI is going to take over my business or my life. I better learn how to use it. I don't know how I'm going to use it. Then they start going into it. They create all sorts of rabbit holes, but they're not really effectively even using it because the initial underlying intention is actually fear. There's a survival that's happening. And often when, for example, my clients will come to me, they have used AI. For example, they'll create some kind of business plan with it, which is great. And AI is very good at aggregating information. You feed it a bunch of stuff and it will give you something based on a powerful model. And usually it's really good. So I will look at it, be like, huh, it's interesting. These are all great ways to think about your business. But here's the problem with AI. It doesn't have the experience in business. It aggregates information and experiences from other possible human beings in the world. And depending on what it has access to, it'll spit out some answers that might be great, that might be not so great. And often, for example, for my business clients, let's say coaches or other kinds of entrepreneur clients, I'll look at the data from AI and I'll see is like, huh, this is great, but not for you. This is great, but not right now. This is great, but this is not going to help you at this point in your business. What will help you is this, this, and this. So again, I'm redirecting them. AI is very useful at bringing all that stuff together, but you still have to use your mind. That means you still need to be able to think, and because they're not thinking and fully relying on AI, they're hoping that AI will give them the answers. Then that's a problem. AI will give you whatever you give it input around. You need to be good at the input. And if you're not good at that, it's not going to give you the thing that you need. And now your perception is also clouded by your overwhelm and fear and so many things. So, just some examples of yes, we can use AI, but we can also get overwhelmed. It's also very easy to get kind of rabbit hole and get addicted to so many things within AI. I've been using it a lot too, and I have to kind of pause sometimes and say, like, I don't need to spend all of my day on this thing. I have other responsibilities as fun as it can be. I've had to step back. So, what does that mean for coaches? Since we are client zero, we need to become aware of how we're testing this new technology and how it's showing up for us. And I look at AI, it can be a tool to grow yourself because you have access to information from all corners of the world, from history, from sciences to all kinds of things that you can kind of use it to teach yourself something about the world and yourself. I think that part is very useful. But the problem is that it cannot come at the expense of your growth. It cannot be information download just for the sake of information download. And how does that connect to resilience? Now, we're like I said in the beginning, we're in an interesting market condition. A lot of coaches, a lot of business owners are struggling. And to be honest, I've had to kind of battle this and work through this. It's like, what is my business gonna look like? And I'll be talking about this in different podcasts as we come along. But I'll say this: about I think about 80 to 90% of the coaches are going to be out of business because of the way they coach. I'm not saying that to scare you. I'm just saying that most coaches are not aware of what to focus on, and what to focus on are the human things. And that starts with you. Do you have the resilience to pivot, bounce back from the stress, from the adversity that this new change is bringing, and from your past trauma and all kinds of other things that are stopping you from moving forward? Which means that adversity doesn't show just because you're telling a story. That means it shows in your behavior. Your behavior is that despite the challenges, I'm able to take action and move forward. Despite how I feel, I'm able to take action and move forward. I know coaches don't define it as that. They think that, oh, just sitting there reading a book and processing all the emotions in it, that's adversity. No, that's not what adversity is. Adversity is that you can move forward despite how you're feeling, despite what's going on. That doesn't mean you shouldn't process and do all that stuff. but you're able to bounce back and move forward. If you don't have that, you're going to struggle to help your clients who are going to be dealing with a lot of overwhelm when it comes to the world of AI. Lots of people are going to be losing their jobs. Lots of people are going to struggle with this world that we're entering. A lot of the human skills are going to go away because people are spending more and more time in their computer and smart devices, which means that what's going to suffer is communication with other human beings. What's going to suffer is emotional resilience. What's going to suffer is their ability to work with other people. And they're going to at least short term hope that the AI will solve the gaps. It will solve the gap in their thinking, but not necessarily their ability to connect and lead other people. That's where you come in as a coach. So if you don't have resilience, and this is the part where we need to be honest with ourselves, if you look at your behavior the past month, have you been able to take action to move forward in your business? Have you been able to work through the challenges that you have without struggle, without being not struggle, without being stuck where you are? Have you been able to ask for support in the things that you're working on? Have you just been stuck for months or years at a time and you're saying that, well, you know what, once I figure out this course or that trauma or whatever, then I'm going to move forward? That sounds like you have no resilience whatsoever. And I'm being a little bit harsh here, or direct, however it sounds like to you, so you can kind of, it shocks you into kind of looking at this. And the first part of honesty is being honest with ourselves. If you're not taking action, moving forward, you're stuck somewhere, you're not asking for support, you don't have resilience and you don't even have the intelligence to move forward. For example, I've been stuck trying to write this book, and I'm already considering, I think I'm going to make up my mind this week to join this program because I've struggled to write it. Like, you know what? I need to get support at this point. So that's what resilience looks like, is that if you're stuck, you're aware of, you can get yourself out. If you can't get yourself out, you have the intelligence to seek support. That's the first piece of it. If you're not doing that and then you're going to potential clients saying you need the support, but I'm not getting it myself, there's an inherent hypocrisy in there that you think you can hide, but you cannot hide that. It will show up in your energy and clients will pick up on that. And on top of that, you won't even be able to help them because you don't have the internal experience to be able to help them. That's what makes you different from an AI, that you have the defining experience. You have experientially walked through this rather than reading the concepts in a book, which does not work without your experience. You can give some surface advice there or even explore based on your coaching model, but you have not, if you have not at least tackled the problem in your personal life, then you're not going to be able to help people. That's just the bottom line of it. And so my encouragement would be is to kind of look within and be honest and say, do I have resilience now? Not based on some old story that you've been telling yourself that you got over addiction or something else 10 years ago or 15 years ago. I have that too. But how are you working through this now? Because in this context, that resilience might not be as applicable as you think, or it's not helping you as much. So how resilient have you been? How much have you been able to bounce back despite how you feel, the adversities, the challenges, the trauma that you might have? Have you been able to take action, move forward consistently? If you have, that means you have some level of resilience. If you're just stuck and you're not even asking for support, you not only don't have resilience, you don't even have the wisdom to ask for help. And that's the first step of being a coach. And then the second one is, you can't even help other people if you haven't at least tackled this and worked through this. This is why I said about 80% of the coaches or 90% of the coaches are going to be done because they don't have the experience, and AI doesn't have the experience either, but it has a lot more information. It can aggregate a lot more than you. You will not be as useful if you're an accountability or accountability kind of coach, or a coach that asks questions like, oh, what's the next step, and what are you going to do with this next time, and you just kind of are winging it. That's not going to work. Even if you have a great model, whatever that looks like, it's the model is not going to help you if you don't have the experience behind it. That's just words on a paper that you're just going to repeat to somebody, and I can guarantee you AI can do a better job of that. So I hope this was helpful. I know I'm being direct, but this is how I kind of look at it myself. I've had to kind of question this in myself and realize, and one of my clients asked this question in business, is like, well, let's say the coaching business doesn't work, then what's your backup plan? I'm like, I have no backup plan. This is the thing that I care about, and I'm going to make it happen. I'm going to work through it, even with all the developments that are happening. If it fails, it fails. that's a different story, but I'm gonna do my best to move forward because this truly matters to me. And I'm gonna move through the uncertainty, the challenges, because I have resilience. I've worked through a lot of things, and this is just another thing. Is it gonna be hard? Of course, it's gonna be hard. It's gonna be challenging. It's gonna be difficult. It's gonna be heart-wrenching at times. But in the end, I'm becoming the person, the leader that I need to be to serve people at a higher level. And I hope this kind of inspires you and pushes you and gives you some tough love to work through this yourself. And I want to hear your thoughts. Maybe there's something I'm missing. Maybe I'm sharing it in the wrong way. I'd love to hear your perspective on this. Share that below with me. How you think of resilience and overwhelm, and how do you work through it? And do you agree? Do you disagree with what I said? Please share below, and please share this with another coach if you hear it on our podcast. This is the thing that they need to probably hear if they want to move forward. We're here to support. If you haven't checked out what we do, you can go to the links below, cmc.coach, and other links that we have. You can reach out to us on our social media or through our email and other information that we have below. Please let us know if you want us to do a video on a specific topic. Like, share, and comment below. Until my next conversation.